Good afternoon. At Monday's board meeting, Chief Mitchell and I addressed public safety related issues. In case you missed it, here's a replay.
Good evening, Mayor and the members of the board. I want to provide a little statistical analysis about the state of the village regarding crime for the last 8 months. So the first thing we look at, rubber hits the road, is index crimes. What is an index crime? Index crime is crimes pertaining to against persons as well as property. There are 10 crimes. So 6 of them in the crimes against person, the violent crimes, are homicide, criminal sexual assault or rape, aggravated battery or aggravated assault or robbery, as well as human trafficking. In the arena of property crime, it's burglary, theft, motor vehicle theft, and, forgot one there, arson. So here's our stats currently from January through August from 2019 versus 2020. As you can see, we've seen a substantial decrease in the number of crimes occurring in Orland Park. 34% decrease year to date. 16% decrease just in the month of August versus 19 versus 20. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So what's driving this thing? Property crime is the leading crime in Orland Park. Retail thefts. That's what drives our crime in Orland Park. As you can see, for the theft cases, we're over 200 down, and majority of them are coming from the Orland Square Mall. Our burglaries are down approximately 64% from last year. That's substantial. That's because our officers are doing a lot of business checks, a lot of house checks, part checks, and stuff like that. So that is unheard of, to be quite frank, in the 26 years I've been here, that have that much of a decrease. Our motor vehicle thefts, unfortunately, are up. Ladies and gentlemen, people are still not locking their vehicles, and they're leaving their fobs in their cars. It's frustrating for us. We've done numerous campaigns to address those concerns, and we're still seeing an increase in that. And then arsons, we have none this year. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So let's drill down into violent crimes. We've had one criminal homicide this year, unfortunately. Back in January of 2020, we had a vehicle that was involved in a crash at 151st and Harlem where a young child was perished. And that individual was just recently charged with reckless homicide. No rapes in 2020, 4 robberies. What's driving the increase is the aggravated battery and aggravated assaults. Go ahead and pull the next slide, please. So let's drill down, let's get in the weeds on that. What's causing this? A lot of it has to do with the quarantine. Our domestic related issues, people are just not getting along. It's causing a lot of violence within the home. I read a study about 57% increased number of divorces occurring in 2020. The other thing is attack on our officers. People are angry, they're disrespectful. And this year alone, I've seen a substantial increase of 26% from May till now in the amount of resisting arrests that are occurring. People are just not respecting the law. Okay? Go ahead and hit the next slide, please. So as you look at the 25-year review of index crimes, in 2019, we had the lowest amount in 25 years. Hopefully this year we'll eclipse that. We realize COVID has a large component of that, but nevertheless, the burglaries are down. Violent crime is about average, but but our thefts are down. So that's where we're at regarding that. Any questions?
Nope. Could you throw up mine real quick? I'm going to throw a couple more slides, and I know we haven't addressed your Sky Zone question, but I will address it. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. So, Chief just showed you these numbers of how crime has gone down. We were also the lowest in crimes against person in 2018, which is the most recent statistic in the state of Illinois. So that's phenomenal. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So that you can see our violent crimes per 1,000 population. You see where Orland Park is, the lowest, and you can see going across. The nice thing is Tinley Park's also dropped. Mokena's low, so we have a very safe region here. And and I threw Mokena in even though they're not over 50,000, just so you could see where we rank with them. Even though they're a much smaller town, they don't have quite as much activity as us. We're still, on a violent crime basis, we're doing very, very well. Now, the question comes about the mall, and that was written on your thing here, crime at the mall. Sky Zone's not the mall. The mall doesn't own that. And but I wanted to give this comparison because people have a perception of the mall, and we can't change perceptions except by giving you facts. And if you don't believe the facts, none of us here can convince you otherwise if you don't believe the facts, but I can give you the facts, okay? And the facts are, we track this, and we track it across malls across the area, and you can see our CrimeCast statistics. So 100 is considered average, the national average. Ours is 51, Oak Brook's 56, and Woodfield's 83, within 1 to 3 miles of Orland Square. So we have a very safe mall, and that's very good for us because we have a lot of other retail within that 1 to 3 miles too. So we do a very good job with crime. We're way better than average, half of the national average, and lower than all the other malls in the region, including malls that everybody here always compares us to and say, oh, they're so safe. Well, the statistics show that so are we. If you look 2 to 6 miles, you'll see we're the only ones actually below the national average. So doing a great job. That also means our neighbors are doing a great job for some of them. Okay, so, and it also helps, I guess, in our case that, you know, the mall's in the middle of town, so we're responsible for a lot of that area, whereas in some towns it's right on the edge, so it may be another town that's responsible for some of that and some of that bleed over. But nonetheless, still better than the national average, so we do a great job. Hopefully you found that information useful. After this was given on Monday night, a question arose about Sky Zone. Well, we cannot say much. Here's some more information about the Sky Zone incident. But we essentially received a call about a fight at the Sky Zone, and it involved 3 youths. And when our officers, when they arrived there, realized that there were north of 800 people there, which is in violation, or which is above their fire code limit. And so our officers recognized that this is a danger. These children were between, keep in mind, these are children between the ages of 10 and 17, children. And so our officers made the correct call to evacuate the place because it's obviously, there's a lot of issues with having too many people there for fire code if there's a fire or anything else. But you also have the issue of 10 to 17-year-olds needing rides home. And so our officers know that now you have over 800 people, children, in a parking lot, and that's a big deal. One, a lot of them are older, you know, they're 16 and 17-year-olds don't usually respond well to being told they can't do something, right? We all know that. We've all dealt with that with our own children. So we know we have that. We only have a handful of officers. So our officers, what they did is they called for support from neighboring towns to make sure that that crowd was controlled and so that all of those children got home safely. So what we were doing is it was predominantly keeping the children there safe. And obviously, if you're doing that, you're keeping everyone else safe as well. And you're right, social media blows up a lot of things, but that's what happened. And Chief, did I miss anything there? So, okay. Thank you very much. Hopefully that information was useful. A reminder that tomorrow we have the senior coffee at 9 a.m. at the Civic Center. It will also be shown via our YouTube if you do not want to attend in person. Additionally, Brewfest is coming up in October, as is the State of the Village. Have a great week.